All right, I think we're live. Push one in the chat if you can hear me. All right, got a confirmation. Thank you for the confirmation. Welcome back to the Black Brain Trust. This is episode 873, Micromobility Talk. Please hit the like button as you come in, share the video if possible, hit that notification bell so you get all the updates from the Black Brain Trust. There's a doc in the description beneath the video for you to follow along with and reference. If you want to join the panel, there's a link in the chat. It's a Zoom chat. It's a Zoom link, sorry, pinned to the top. Make sure you update your Zoom client before joining. Let me share my screen and then we'll get started. Let me know when you can see my screen. All right, let's get started. First item on the docket is from electrek.co. Are Africa's latest electric motorcycle battery swapping gains outpacing the world? Let me zoom in. Battery swapping for electric motorbikes isn't new technology, but its adoption rate has proven to be remarkably inconsistent around the world. One of the biggest surprises recently has been one of the places where such technology has grown rapidly, Africa. Electric motorbike battery swapping often takes hold in areas where car usage is outnumbered by motorbikes, meaning any advances in electrification have a much bigger impact on the population and the environment. Battery swapping allows an electric motorbike to operate essentially indefinitely, removing the need for recharging stops in favor of simply swapping out a depleted battery for a fully charged one. Africa certainly doesn't come up often in conversations around electric vehicle hotspots, but perhaps it should. The continent has quietly become a hub of electric motorcycle activity as multiple homegrown startups expand country by country and bring along a series of battery swapping platforms. Sparrow, one of the largest players in the African electric motorbike market, counts a ridership of over 12,000 and a total network of at least 600 battery swapping stations. Those stations have largely been manually run, requiring an employee to perform the swapping operation, but have still racked up over 7 million battery swaps so far. Now the company is announcing its first 50 automated battery swapping stations. These stations use smart cabinets similar to those we have seen from other companies such as Vamo in South America, allowing riders to roll up, authenticate themselves, and then swap their own battery into an empty space for recharging while simultaneously receiving a freshly charged battery. Our automated swap stations paired with Sparrow batteries represent the pinnacle of safety and quality in the EV market. These stations are designed to offer our customers a seamless and secure experience, ensuring that every swap transparently conveys the exact value customers are paying for. These batteries are connected to the cloud around the clock, making sure they meet the highest standards of performance and reliability. At Sparrow, we are committed to pushing the boundaries of technology to provide solutions that are not only innovative, but also trustworthy. impactful and life-changing, bringing smiles to customers' faces by adding a bit more cash to their pocket each day. We are raising the bar for electric mobility across Africa. This is straight from Spiro. By far, the largest users of electric motorbikes in Africa are boda operators or motorbike taxis. These are incredibly common in many African cities and are seen as the quickest way to get around town. In order for those riders to effectively switch to electric motorbikes, though, they need a way to operate throughout the day. Battery swapping provides that solution, letting them refuel quickly as a gas station fill up, but without the same harmful emissions and without as much cost. So could initiatives like Spiro's automated battery swapping stations leapfrog past the rest of the world? Potentially, though it depends on where you look. It's likely not the case when compared to major competitors like Gogoro's systems, which dominate in Asia. There's an argument to be made when compared to electric motorbike battery swapping systems in Europe and South America, where progress exists but isn't as well developed or proliferated as Gogoro's technology. However, when compared to some of the most underdeveloped regions of the world, such as North America, at least when considering battery swapping, Africa appears not only to not only hold a sizable lead, but is growing at a much faster rate. So here's the deal. I just came back from Africa myself. And so I thought this article was apropos for this sort of discussion because I spent last week I was in Kenya. In fact, I was in Nairobi to be specific. And I ran into quite a few startups. I went on a ecosystem tour for startups out in Nairobi. And so what I found was that Africans are very much advanced in this area of electric mobility. Now, on the Black Brain Trust, we've always covered micromobility, fourth industrialization as a subject to be covered because we think that Black people should be involved in fourth industrialization of these sort of emerging technologies, right? And lo and behold, Africans are over there immersed in this sort of emerging technology that's coming on board. We're just having these conversations now, but these people are already have already conquered this market in a way that we haven't even done, like the article is saying, and I have to agree that we have not actually caught up anywhere near to what these people are doing. And so what we're seeing here is that there are a lot of opportunities in this market. We know that complex design has been one of the champions in the space about micromobility. Okay, we've talked about this ad nauseum. If you go into Brain Trust videos uploads, you'll see that there are many videos from Complex Design where he's working on some scooters and some e-bikes for that matter. And so we have always been talking about this, but now you're starting to see, like the article is saying, that Africa is becoming the dominant player with a lot of startups and a lot of infrastructure being rolled out at the micro scale. And so these are the sort of things that we have been talking about largely. I think this bike in the picture that we're just looking at, just like an example, I think this goes for about $3,000. That's not a lot of money in American dollars, considering that you have these sort of e-bike vouchers, e-motorcycle, EV vouchers around the country that are pushing for this sort of adoption at anywhere between $500 to $1,500, right? And so if we're having this sort of incentive to go out and buy these sort of EV products on the market, then it makes a lot of sense for us to be involved in it as well. I got Complex Design on the panel. What's going on, bro?
Hey, Mike, sorry about that, man. I'm getting in just a couple minutes late. So if you can just catch me up real quick. This is the African bike that has the swappable battery. You sent me this article, right?
Yeah. I just wanted to cover this because it's going to be
Yes.
it's going to flow right into the next piece that I'm going to cover here.
What was your take on this right here?
The article is bang on.
Hmm.
I just came from there last week. And
Hmm.
so what the article is saying and what I saw with my own eyes is true. Africans
Hmm.
are going to be the emerging player probably all year round. From 2024 going forward, they are going to be the dominant player because they have less regulation, less red tape, um, less bureaucracy involved, and they have a lot of talent. Okay, there's a lot of people
Yes.
who can write code, not just write code, but can turn a wrench as well. And so they have the ability to, by and large, help facilitate standardization for battery swapping when it comes to EVs at the 3-wheel and 2-wheel level, as well as
Hmm.
even a 1-wheel level now. I saw that when I was over there.
The one wheels. Yep.
Yeah, Uniwheels. And so
Hmm.
starting to see a lot more of that. And you're seeing these sort of motorcycle style EVs
Yes.
pop up primarily because their environment is different, right? They need ruggedized sort of they need a more ruggedized sort of vehicle to handle the environment as it is. Because it's
Hmm.
not uncommon that when you're on a highway and you need to take off, you need to make an exit, 100 yards down, 100 feet down off that exit, you may go into dirt road.
Right.
That's just the reality of how the environment is, and you may end up going into some places that, um, you know, maybe not actually found on Google Maps to determine whether or not you're off road. Um, and so that's the sort of things that I saw when I was over there. So I think the article is really spot on. I didn't see this bike in particular, but I think that most of these bikes are kind of um, aiming for the same exact market where they have some of the similar
Yeah.
features.
I think what they're trying, because I know, man, I got to find that article and send it to you. So I think it's either in Thailand or Malaysia. I'm trying to remember which country it is. So what they did was they standardized a pack,
Yeah.
right? They standardized a pack. And so what it is that you'll have manufacturers that are literally going to build around that pack so that you have that swappable capability. You can have your own pack or you take your stuff out, then there's a an infrastructure, right, to
Mm-hmm.
get access to packs where that rack, that charging rack that you just saw there.
Yep.
Yeah, so you'll have that charging rack there, and then you could just go and then get access to the batteries over in those racks.
Mm-hmm. So let me know if you can see my screen. Oh wait, I'm on mute. No one can hear me. Um,
No, Mike, I can hear you. I can hear you.
okay. Yeah, so this is Africa E-Mobility Alliance. The Africa E-Mobility Alliance connects stakeholders in electric mobility ecosystems across Africa. AFA actively drives awareness, activates markets, and catalyzes advocacy efforts to transform the transportation landscape into a zero emission sector. We envision that by 2030, 30% of all vehicles sold in Africa will be zero emissions vehicles. Our work informs and accelerates that transition. So they had their own, again, Nairobi. I just came from there. Okay. This happened last a few months ago. So Kenya is becoming a more dominant player in this market out of all African countries. They're kind of leading the way on this. But you see some of the partners here, Nigeria Clean Technology Hub, Ghana Impact Hub, Uganda Electric Mobility Association, United Nations Environment Program, Zambia Electric Mobility Innovation Alliance, and World Resources Institute. And so um,
Damn, this is incredible.
Africans are taking the lead on a lot of these
Damn.
areas. And so I was there, I saw it with my own eyes. These things are bustling everywhere. And it's, at first it's kind of shocking because you see a bike going by, but you don't necessarily hear it. And so that part is a little bit of a culture shock because you got to just make sure that you look both ways because You might walk into the street and get hit by one of these things because you can't hear it because it's moving so fast.
Mike, can I just kind of maybe speak for those listening, right? Like, 'cause
Mhm.
I heard you when I first came on, and you were mentioning how this has been something we've been hammering literally since December 2018. You guys, we'll have to dig up. I'll find it, and we'll send you the first live stream we did on this. It was a whole presentation, the PowerPoint that we did on micromobility. And when
Mhm.
when we had been talking about future technologies, fourth industrialization, and I started working at Bird, I was like, whoa, this is something, man, we're gonna have to like start talking about.
Mhm.
And to okay, so to kind of look at like the schism between, say, like how micromobility has been implemented in the United States versus what Africa's doing, what you just showed right there.
Mhm.
The conferences are way different. If you guys go to Micromobility Industries YouTube channel, right? You'll kind of see what the nature of those conferences and meetings are like. And then when you look at what Mike just showed in Africa, how they're looking at it. And it really does show you the industrial and the infrastructure difference in how, say, like a nation like the United States looks at this versus how Africa looks at this.
Mhm.
Do you get where I'm going with that, Mike?
Yeah, because you're dealing with different sort of ecosystems, right? And so, and you're also dealing with different sort of culture as well that comes with that.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. So the approach to the application of this is way it's almost as if it's like, man, there's almost like there isn't a ceiling in Africa, and in the United States we kind of already see where the ceiling is at, if that
Mhm.
makes sense.
Mhm. So let me share my screen. I was able to capture some video. A lot in video of their technology without their approval. And so I have to be mindful that some of the items that I was able to capture, um, is very short for a reason. It's not because I don't know what I'm doing. It's more about I have to be mindful about what kind of language is said and who's in the video and what kind of technology is being seen here. So I want to make sure that I kind of preference that before I go ahead and say anything. Um, so this is ampersand. Ampersand is a battery swap station and also have these battery swappable e-bikes that you saw on the thumbnail of the live stream. So let me play this clip really quickly from the CEO that you see here. Let me pause this really quickly. She is the CEO. Okay, many of these micromobility platforms are definitely run by African women, Black women. And so you can see this notice up here. It says, do not take pictures, no camera allowed. So that's why I'm saying up front that you have to be mindful of what I was recording at the time. These people that you see right here are investors. These are venture capitalists. Okay, these are millionaires that are looking to invest. So this is on the thumbnail. This is the actual bike right here. This is the ampersand bike with the removable battery swappable battery in place right here. Um, what was I going to say? That they can get up to 100 kilometers.
That's approximately what, like 82 miles,
When you think about
86 or something like that.
yeah, it's roughly about it depends on where, what the load is. So
Yeah,
if
the
they're free
grade
of
and
load,
mode. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So um and this is 72 volts, and it's and the motor is actually 3,000 watts. So I just wanted to show this because I think that it's important that you understand that some of the items on here, some of the items, but the bike itself is an example of what is being done in Kenya, and it's not something that's just we didn't just read an article and say, oh yeah, we know what's going on the ground. No, we were on the ground. We for our own eyes what kind of products are being produced out there, and actually how what the user feedback is. And like you couldn't really hear what she was saying because there's a lot of background noise, but they do about 100 bikes a day, battery swapping. If I can go back a little bit in the picture, I mean in video, you can't see it from this angle, but up top there is a solar panel, an array of solar panels up top, and that helps alleviate the charging capacity of all those batteries that you see in there plugged up against the wall. And so it helps speed up. It turns it into a level 3 charging station, which means that they can charge, roughly these batteries probably in about 90 minutes tops.
Yeah, you run the panels run into say like a power ball or a power bank, and then
Yeah.
through say like a well, I don't want to call it maybe an industrial grade charger, but basically it's a
Mm-hmm.
charger that meters out the power evenly to all the batteries plugged in. So when you have that type of
Mm-hmm.
system right there, that's where you get that consistent 90-minute, 60-minute, 120-minute charge time, depending on the level.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
all the power is always available.
Yep. Yep. So that's I don't know what just
This
happened to my
is
screen.
dope. This is dope. This is dope.
And it's run by Black folks. And so
I
especially
mean,
her, she's
dude.
very knowledgeable. I had a deep conversation with some of the employees. You can't oh, let me say this right here. This uh carrier that you see right here serves a purpose. It props the bike up so that it allows the battery swapping to be 30 seconds to be exact. Let me see if I can find that clip as well.
And Mike, just as you're doing that, I was literally talking with Jamal from Kita Auto earlier. So we'll be
Okay.
doing some video uploads of some of the projects we got going on here. I sent you pictures of the customs that we're doing with that one company. So um we'll also be doing some uploads to show what it is that we're doing as well on our end here in the States. But this
Yep.
this is very encouraging to see.
So let me share my screen again. Um, Actually, it's right here. Faber, no, it's an ecosystem tour. It just so happens that you had investors there, because these are startups and they need to grow capital. And so some of them are already in their seed funding, Series A, Series B funding. And so that's the purpose of the ecosystem tour, is to demonstrate the excellence of some of these startups.
Yeah, that initial round is to essentially use case your concept, right? if you have a solid use case, then that's when you have this type of meeting right here. Let me see. Did Mike just drop off? What just happened? Let me see. Oh, my microphone is muted. Can you guys let me see. If you could press one if you hear me, it's saying my micro. I don't know if I'm muted, but it just says only I have one participant. I'm not sure what happened here. Can you guys like press one if you hear me talking? Okay. So you guys can hear me. Okay. We'll just wait for Mike to come back up because it's showing. I don't know. I guess I don't know. I'm not sure if he had a connection issue, but he ended up dropping. Um, well, okay. So in the meantime, I guess while we wait for Mike to come up, because I know he was trying to show another another video from when he was over in Nairobi here recently. Um, and this is just maybe just to kind of, it's not really a sidebar, but I'll just kind of go and speak further till Mike is able to join us. But we've long looked at this as an emerging market, not only here in the United States, globally as well. There's various regulatory things that pretty much govern the industry from, let's just say, country to country, continent to continent, right? Where you see the absolute most potential for this is Africa. And this is the reason why, if you really do kind of come over the last, I don't know, I would say the micromobility live streams that we've done over like maybe like the last 2 years, there's always been something referencing Africa as a potential market, right? And the track records there. You can go through the archives and look at all that, right? There's always been a reference to that market. And now we're really starting to look and see the maturation or the I guess you can say where large capital is now looking at this as a very viable business model. And the continent of Africa is proving and serving as that use case. There's really not much terrain that small electric vehicles really can't handle. And what we're finding is that it's typically the e-bike and e-scooter, e-cycle, like the full size e-scooter and e-motorcycle um, market that's really burgeoning there, so to speak, because there's a lot of purposes that it serves, and it can eat the terrain because the motors don't have to ingest dust and rocks and all that kind of stuff. They really don't. Um, you know, Electric motors are very durable. Batteries, as long as they don't overheat and blow up between your legs, okay, they're going to do the job. So, you probably deal with what, bent rims and flat tires at best. And you can even, get wheels and tires and tubes and get bespoke for the environment. So this is where the flexibility in the vehicles really does have an advantage in places like Africa. So that's the reason why we also kind of take a lot of interest in showing that, look, not only is this a market here that's relatively untapped. I'll say relatively, but in Africa, once again, just looking at that last article that we covered, it is very much an industrial and an infrastructural piece.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, Mike.
And can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So as we were recording, we were going through the demonstration in the introduction. To actually go for to come for a battery swap. So let me start the video from the beginning so that you can see for yourself what a battery swap looks like. This woman right here is the chief mechanic on the team. So for those you don't know, Kenya is a cashless society. 99.999% of the people don't use cash. What she's doing is she's leveraging the tablet to verify, one, who the rider is, two, what the bike is, and three, which battery is it? Is it one that they have deployed, or is it which version of it is it? There's a lot of technical data that they collect with their bikes, but it's also important to understand that the phone number that you have is connected to that vehicle. So if someone stole that vehicle,
mm-hmm.
if someone stole that vehicle, if someone stole that vehicle, they can disable it, and that means that that battery wouldn't be swappable with them because it's considered to be stolen, and so they won't even touch it. No one would be able to touch it.
It's the IoT component to all this.
Yes, they explain that
yeah, you can remote kill. You can remote kill the controller. That's where the cutoff happens right there between the battery and the controller. They just, like when you were talking about remote trigger, they right there. That's where they cut it. Doesn't matter how much juice the battery has, it ain't going nowhere if they turn it off remotely.
Yep. So when you play this. What he's doing is he's paying for the battery swap from mobile to mobile. So it's roughly 30 seconds to swap the battery physically, and then it's a few more seconds for you to synchronize your mobile to mobile payment and registration with the chief mechanic there. And so that's the sort of innovation that Kenyans are pushing right now. Complex.
Yeah. So, it's funny to me, Mike. That's more in line with like a typical refuel, right?
Yep.
One of
Pit
the
stop.
yeah, one of the issues that you'll hear a lot about with the EV sector. Shit, we discussed this a couple weeks ago. You know,
Mhm.
with cars takes longer, right? They haven't that there's been concepts for swapping, battery swapping and all that kind of stuff. You don't really have an industry, you don't have no kind of industry standard when it comes to that. Okay, so you can take
Mhm.
that out the frame. At best, you got superchargers that can, 15 minutes, maybe 18 minutes, they can fill up 80% of like a Tesla or something like that, right? However,
Mhm.
this is more akin to literally going to a gas station and refueling.
That's actually where they are, is a gas station. That's why you hear all that noise in the background. It's a gas station. But they
Okay.
carved out that space
Boom.
with a container with a shipping
We
container
have this
turned into a charging station.
charging station, right? And so that's where you have they call embedded infrastructure. So if you have, so for example, embedded infrastructure, for example, would be like you have a gas station. That gas station also sells what? Propane, diesel, and then they do something like this. So it's literally all types of energy sources for mobile application. And that's really how you have to
Right.
think about it in terms of energy infrastructure. You know, man, we'll have to probably kind of do a deep dive more on like these type of concepts with regards to where people oftentimes think to install charging stations and stuff like that. And then there's the other
Mhm.
side where, like, let's just say you're a gas station owner, does it make sense for you to also include this type of infrastructure into your energy, your energy sales portfolio, right? So you come to my station, you
Mhm.
can get your 87 through 91, you can get your E85, you can get your propane tanks filled, right? They may even do it. There's some stations out here in California that still sell race gas, 110 and 112,
Well,
Sunoco.
because you still have an industry for it. Yeah, you still have an
Yeah.
industry for it. But the goal in Kenya is to phase all this stuff out in the next 5 years.
But I was going to say, now that's the whole thing, right? You see, so if this is the wave, then you use the pre-existing infrastructure that's already there.
Yep. They just convert it over. They'll eventually convert it over.
Bingo, bingo.
Um, what you're looking at right here is the factory for Rome electric vehicles, ROAM. Rome is a Kenyan-based, Nairobi-based electric vehicle manufacturer. Their biggest market is e-bikes, e-motorcycles. And so these are already sold. All of these bikes that you see in the screenshot right here are already sold. This is just a very short clip. They did not want us taking too much video of the factory because there's a lot of prototypes and stuff around in there and a lot of um, uh, you know technology that they don't want the market being seen on the market just as of yet. Many startups are like this now. They don't want you taking too many photos and videos. So let me just play this clip real quick.
Now that is a shot. That's what I'm talking about.
And so half of these e-motorcycles are for public consumption, and the other half go to other other customers, big commercial customers. So in Africa, they have something called Glover, which is similar to like Uber Eats. And so Glover and a couple of the other commercial ride sharing platforms have their own pre-purchase orders in place. So all of what you see in there has already been sold. It's just a matter of
Yes.
delivering to the customer. And so they're on track to push 50,000 EVs by 2025.
And this, my
This is
friend,
not,
is how you compete with the Chinese. Right here.
yeah, yeah. So all of this is manufactured in Kenya. Okay. You saw the video, you see the people, black folks at work, putting the finishing touches on. This is the top floor. Um, there's a subfloor below. There's a basement below where they're doing a lot of the assembly line work. Up here is the final assembly. And so um they're integrated with IoT, they're integrated with micropayment systems, and so you can pay as you go, and it can do a direct deposit and things like that, and it can pull from your bank account. This is what Africans are building in Kenya right now.
Hey, man, truth be told, not to toot our own horns over here, but that's what we've been
Mhm,
doing this whole time too. All of our platforms. I did a lot of the IoT deep dives maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago. If you
mhm,
guys dig back a little bit, it'll be there. We did a
mhm,
primer. It was called
mhm,
I think it was called All Things Internet of Things. It's episode 7 something. It was myself, engineering cannabis. I think Professor Black Ops was there. It was yeah.
mhm,
We did a pretty heavy deep dive on that one, and we talked
mhm.
about like the core technology that you're talking about, Mike, that drives all of this stuff, that makes it monetarily attractive and feasible.
Yeah.
It's the digital application of it.
Yeah. And so that is that part right there. Let me show you this piece here.
That was a dope shot, by the way, man. That's what I want right there.
So it used to be a different shop owned by a Indian foreign conglomerate. Back during the pandemic, they vacated it and left it empty. And so they took over the facility, and it's a massive
Mhm.
facility. You can't see the outside, but the actually you're gonna see the outside really quickly.
Well, I was going to say, just by
They have
what
a
I see
test
right
track.
there, I was going to say just how high inside it is, the racks. That's how you know it's big.
Yeah, yeah. And so they used to work on well, it doesn't matter what they was working on before, but they were a manufacturing company that were working on some big commercial applications before. And so they able to convert this over the last year to be a full EV manufacturing hub for themselves.
But wait, you said they have a test track?
But yeah, there's a test track outside.
Oh
You can't
shit.
you can't see it in the video, but it's kind of
Damn.
like the Nürburgring.
Oh shit.
We got Renaissance Man on the panel. What's going on, bro?
Hey,
Hey,
Red,
what's
what's
up?
up?
Hey, what's up? No, Mike, I was gonna say it looks like you were in a tour over there. It looks like.
It's an ecosystem tour. Yep, it's a tech
Oh, okay.
ecosystem tour.
Okay. No, that's cool. Now I was just gonna say you all were talking about the batteries. Now I got into that when I was working with this inventor last year, talking to him about different batteries. We were looking at he basically had a technology for charging vehicles that he was working on. But he was saying that the um the charging of batteries, that the thing you're going to run into with that, like the fast chargers, is that is horrible on the batteries, like that quick charging. He's like, it's much better from an electronic standpoint to just like charge over time or charge slowly. Don't let it get low versus like having like it get low and like Complex, I think, was saying like charging 80% in 20 minutes. And then that creates a because that kills your batteries, like the longevity over time, it creates a say sustainability issue. So he was showing me some startups that are doing the same thing they're doing of changing batteries out, like a battery swap. Like you pull up to a station and here's my old battery that's not charged, and then they just swap it out and give you a charged one. You keep going that way. he was
Yeah,
saying that
you
model,
never run down to zero. You never run down to zero. You're running down to maybe 25, 30% at best,
yeah,
before you swap out. And so
Yeah,
that's kind of
30.
they know by the battery management system communicating over IoT how much capacity is left and whether or not you need to pull over. That's kind of how the system is designed, what you see in the video. These
yeah.
sort of things I couldn't take pictures of or video of, but that's essentially what they're doing. They have collected all of this sort of data, the telemetry of the vehicle itself.
No,
I
no,
was
I
gonna
was gonna,
say
I was,
general rule of thumb is once that battery for like public deployment, 30% it needs to go in for charge.
yeah, yeah, because he was saying if it gets too low, it just any electronic, like if you like your phone or anything, that kills the battery life over time. If you have to keep doing these deep charges, nah. So what they're doing with the scooters of being able to swap out batteries, now that's good for sustainability. He was saying the main hangup you ran into with cars was just insurance, because you got so many different cars out there, but something like a bike, the batteries are going to be a lot more standardized than cars from all over the world with different battery sizes, different locations, and all of that. So now it's a really smart, innovative model if you can make it work.
So here is one of the chief engineers for the company Rome that you saw in the previous video with the electric bikes. They also do DC charging stations as well as buses as well, and also working on electric vehicles. But I wanted to play this clip so that you can hear this brother speak about some of the development that they're working on.
Our first activity was conversion of land users for the safari industry. Yeah. I don't know whether you've heard about that story. We did convert about 12 land users that distributed across Kenya. Whether it's the Savo, Masai Mara, Chudu Hills, and they're still running. Yeah. And from that, we were able to learn about research and development of electric batteries. And that was our specialty for the last 3 years. Where we also ventured into retrofitting of border borders and buses are among the popular means of public transport in Kenya, even East Africa. I don't know where we got that from, but back in 2005, when the president came in, he wanted to create an avenue for employment. So tax was waived, and a lot of borders were able to be sold. Since 2005 and onwards, so like half a million borders in the market. Not Rome, but in Kenya, about half a million borders entered into the market. And that gave growth to the border industry that we see today. So we thought that after conversion of land cruisers, which is an elite sort of service area, it's a tour, safari, we don't get in touch with the local mwananchi or the local person. So how do we ensure maximum impact? Is to look at our public transport system, which consists of borders and buses. So for buses, we started by a conversion again. Again, we were doing a lot of drivetrain design and development and fitting them into these vehicles. We did that conversion. There are fair challenges of doing conversions. It's an approach towards electrification, but us, we don't believe as much because we've seen a lot. Yeah, pass through the fire doing these conversions. Maybe I could give one reason. It's because these matatus are used, abused, and exist. They might find a bent chassis. You find the diff configurations are messed up. So as you design your templates, then going to retrofit, you miss a millimeter or two. You feel that's a problem. And that's what we found out. We also did conversions of the borders. See, at least one that we did. And that gave us a lesson towards building a new product that would be market. So that's
So this bus here is all electric. This is the bus that we were on to do the tour. You can't hear anything. It's actually very silent, and it's one of the premier products that they have that they've developed. He's saying that this is the next iteration of what you saw, what he was pointing to earlier. This is the next iteration. This one doesn't have air conditioning, but that's, part of the prototype design.
Yeah, Mike.
But
I was gonna ask you, was this can anyone go to Kenya and get one of the get on like a organized tour like this?
no, it's done through the Nairobi Climate Network.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Then you have this bus, we call it a shuttle feeder or feeder bus. How public transport in most of East African cities is organized. You have the trucks, like this main road that we came with, or the other one that we used. Then you have interior roads. So a big bus to serve the corridors. Then you have these buses to do small feeder routes. And after once you're done getting your trip on this bus, you can alight and get a boda which is electric. So that's how we try to tie the public transport ecosystem using sustainable modes.
So what he's saying is, for those who can't hear, is that they have been working on converting gas or petrol-based vehicles into electric as a part of their prototyping, to understand the market better, to understand market fit. And what they ended up doing here with this gray box here, this is a DC fast charging system. And this actually is used to charge all the buses and electric vehicles that they have in their fleet. So this is roughly around 440 volts. And they can charge a bus. They charge these buses at night, but they can also charge them in the middle of the daytime because they have excess capacity of electricity available to charge these buses. And it doesn't take much. It doesn't take much in terms of duration to charge them, because it only takes about an hour and a half to charge a bus to full capacity.
Yeah, and my understanding Kenya is like 80% clean energy.
Yeah, at this point. Yeah, at this point.
Yeah, way ahead of the states. Way more proactive on probably. I'm sure they don't have as big of the the lobby and having to deal with people even arguing if climate change really exists. I think they probably know that, hey, the country's going to suffer if they don't put the right infrastructure in place. We're still not. We're still fighting over whether exists political dysfunction in this country.
Mm-hmm. All right, let me get to
I
the
would
next.
just say
Yeah,
that I would just say that it's more, we've kind of built our infrastructure up in such a way that it is petrol reliant. And so we have more of an adaptation measure that has to be taken versus when you're there, the infrastructure is more prime for this, right? So we have to kind of look at the difference between this the civic infrastructure. Like I said, we've largely been built up on petrol and diesel and fuels, like liquid fuels, and over there not so much. So if you are to start, you don't really start with something that's kind of set you back from a climate standpoint. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it took the United States, roughly 75 years to get all these gas stations and infrastructure up and going, from an industrialization standpoint. So I don't expect everything to be converted over as just as quick,
Right.
It has to be carefully planned. You have to understand the nuances in different states and different regions. And, a place like Texas is completely disconnected from the rest of the country in terms of their energy capacity. If you start charging too many devices at a time, too many vehicles at a time, you can potentially bring down the grid. There's a lot of nuances that is in place, when you're talking about, creating this sort of infrastructure. But Kenya is one of those countries that just so happens to have a lot of clean energy available, where they can actually spare it. So that's why they're at the forefront of all of this. Let me play this other clip from the actual next day at the conference. This was the next day. Ran into quite a few electric bike founders at the event. So let me play this clip here. This is a 2024 model.
Just give me.
Huh?
Just give me.
Okay. And what's the range?
So one battery goes up to 8 kilometers.
8 kilometers?
80.
Oh, 80. Okay. Okay. And it takes a front basket.
Yes. So this one actually is to protect the light and the dashboard in case someone,
Okay.
just a protective part for the tire.
And the side rack is for.
In case you're having the second person.
Oh, okay.
This is a
Yeah. Okay.
second person, and this is for the rider now.
Okay. But because there's no gears, you don't have a clutch. You have front and rear.
So you have levels. You have 3 levels when you turn on. You see, right now it's on parking. You do this. It's not on parking. You do that. You're on gear 3. You go down. You're gear 2. You go this. You're ready to go. So if I just accelerate, then it goes.
Okay.
So if I go on gear 2, the speed goes high.
What's the wattage on the hub?
So this is a hub motor.
Yeah. What's the wattage?
3,000.
2,000?
3.
3,000?
Yes.
Wow. And 48 volts?
Yes.
No,
This 72.
72 volts. 72 volts. Wow. Crash bar too.
Yes.
What about this one over here?
This one.
Yes.
So this is our, we call it our electric jack.
Mhm.
Do a cargo bicycle that can do up to 100 kg.
Oh, it's a nice cargo bike.
It has a footrest if you want to carry the second person. Then here you can do, even can do a range of 100 kilometers. The battery, and then it has 3 ways of riding it. So you can just sit, accelerate. You can see at the back.
Oh, okay. What's the wattage on that hub?
It looks like 48.
That's one way. Number 2, it has like 5 different gears. So you go up, then you go down. See, if you don't want to use the throttle, you can pedal assist. So it's like 20% your energy, 80% energy.
What's the range on it?
So if you pedal assist, you're going for 160 kilometers.
Okay.
So the last way of riding it, it's going now manual, like a mechanical bike. So it has 7 gears.
7.
Yes.
Here.
Here, yes.
7 here.
Those ones.
Okay.
So you can do 7 gears. So then now you just pedal like
Okay.
a manual bike.
What about the battery? Is that 72 volts or 60 volts or 52 volts? 48?
It's 48.
48. Okay.
Like a pure cargo.
Okay. This is all 2024.
Yes. So this is our 2.0. We have like our 1.0.
Okay.
That can do about 65 kgs. And then at the back, it's a bit lower in terms of clearance and the size of the bike. So that's our 1.0. So this is 2.0, bigger and can do more weight and a longer range.
Looks heavy.
It's heavy, quite heavy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's like I feel it's heavy. Yeah, it's heavy.
So that can do cylinder, water, food, can go to any road.
So you have a basket that goes with it.
Yes.
Okay.
So we have like different carrier boxes. If you're doing bakery, if you're doing water, if you're doing gas, if you're doing
Food.
groceries
Okay.
as well. So we have like different carrier boxes and different customers depending what you want. They want to use our bike, so we help them to, make that into, existence or to their customers. The brake lights.
Yeah, I see. No turn signal.
No.
Okay.
No, that doesn't have like a that can show you to which side you're going.
How many shillings does it cost?
This one costs 139.
Wow.
But you can see it's one. It's a good quality bike. It's a good quality bike, number one. And then the range, and then the weight you can do on it. And then the tires are, they're protected. They easily can't get punctured.
Okay.
Also, we do maintenance for you at that price for free. The labor, unless you want to buy something. Otherwise, we are doing maintenance for free if you're buying from us.
The warranty is 1 year?
No, 6 months.
6 months.
And also, you get a 6 months warranty on that price, and then we give you insurance as well.
Okay.
Bike. Yeah.
Which is very nice. Who is the CEO?
She is.
Oh, she's the CEO. Wow. There's 3 female CEOs so far.
Oh wow.
She's the
Oh boy.
Ah,
She's the CEO too.
nice. Which company?
The Hopper bike.
Auto parts.
Hopper.
Hopper.
Yeah, Hopper.
Okay.
The gynocracy runs the micromobility industry. Let
Whatever,
these folks
dude.
talk.
I might find my future wife over there, bro. What are you talking about?
Man, listen, man. I can't stress enough, man. Everybody was knowledgeable about the products that they were displaying.
Man.
They knew their
Man.
stuff. They weren't dummies. These were not, show models or anything like that. These were people who were in the industry. They know what they're talking about. You see every question I asked, she had an answer for it.
That's what I was like,
there
bro.
was
Like,
no-
what? Dude, they're on point, bro. I don't know,
Yeah.
man. Wifey might be over there. I don't know, man. Shit.
Oh man, yeah, that's an offline conversation.
That's
man. But,
yeah. Offline, dog. Offline.
Yeah, I like both of the products. They look clean. These are things that are manufactured in Kenya. These are a part of the industry. And so the article that we read on the onset of this stream was on point in regards to what we're looking at right here. They have pedal assists and actual e-motorcycles, and so they're covering all their bases. Everything that you don't see in the video.
Yeah,
the
Mike.
only thing I don't see is e-scooters, but I think that's more because they understand the terrain.
Yeah.
And e-scooters really, unless you're in metro areas in Africa where there's like level roads and that's only going to be in certain areas, really this is really going to be more general application. This can eat both. Go ahead, Ren. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, I was going to just ask Mike on the bicycle. Now, why is the back like flat like that? Is that for like sitting stuff on, or?
Yeah, it's a cargo.
Yeah, that's what she just said. That's what she just said. They make, you can't see it in the video right now, but they make assortment of top boxes for.
I got you now. So like if you're going
they're
to
in
the
top
market or
boxes,
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, you can multi-purpose these.
The people who have these are doing rideshare work. They're doing like Grubhub and that sort of deal. And so they're always on the go. They're always on the go. And so the ability to swap out these top boxes from a warm box to a cold box. A cold box is a refrigerated box. You just prop it on top of it, lock it in, and you go. Because they have to carry different sorts of consumables that require things to maintain their temperatures throughout the ride, because it gets hot out there. When I was out there, it was 90 degrees, 90 95 degrees at the peak of that event. And so vaccines and blood
fluids, just all kind of shit, medications.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of things that people who are riding these are actually engaged in. And
so I was gonna say, you can
that's
do
why
you can do like small scale deliveries, like you said, food
That's
deliveries.
exactly what the bike is for.
Yeah.
That's what it's
That's
for.
what the bike is
Yep.
for.
Yeah. Yeah, because I was going to say like that's
Because it's
what you see a
more
lot
cost effective. Go ahead. Please finish.
No, I was just going to say that's what you see a lot more in the. You see it some in the States, in some of the major cities, but I saw it a lot when I was in Europe too, as well, of people more riding bikes to do deliveries around town.
It's cheaper. A bike like this that's pedal assisted, man. I was outside during the break, and there were several people who had these already. They had already deployed these, and so I think in the video she says that there's about 800 out there on the market already, and it's only February, and so these are very cost effective if you know your way around the city. Plus, Google Maps just, it's usually about 90% accurate to what you need. If you know the environment, if you're a native there, you kind of know where you need to go. And so these could, I was in a taxi and this guy bolted right by me, like we were standing still. He was out. He was weaving in and out of traffic. But that's the benefit of an e-bike, that you can actually navigate your way. You can lane split. You can go over sidewalks and other sort of terrain that a regular car could not, especially during rush hour where everything is at gridlock, can't move. These bikes, they just whip right through like it's nothing. And so a lot of it is, just in time sort of deliveries that, the market needs. People need to get things done right there and there. And so very impressed with what they had. Very impressed. So I was, when I first walked in, I saw it. That was the first thing I saw. I was like, man, look at this thing. And so you see the configuration. It's pretty standardized. And I think Complex mentioned this earlier, like how they swap batteries and what kind of batteries may be being swapped as well. Because it makes it consistent with what you're trying to achieve from a product standpoint. And so, like she said, they do all the maintenance. They offer, warranty on it, and helmet comes with it as well as the top boxes. And these heavy duty chargers. Look at the size of these things. These are not cheap, and so, yeah.
Yeah, that's some good hardware right there.
Yeah, how developed is the market, Mike? Like, are they like is it pretty competitive as far as like multiple startups? Or are they kind of leading the market?
Who's leading the market, Kenya or the ones that you see in the video?
The company you see in this video, are they like one of many, or like it's a growing type of thing, or is it pretty saturated? Or
No, it's not saturated at all. And that's what we've been trying to discuss on the Brain Trust for a while now, that the EV market, micromobility specifically, is a wide open market that Black men should have been getting involved in 2, 3, 4 years ago when Complex was talking about it. You had some people in the manosphere saying, oh, Complex is running around with his micro machines and things like that. But now you're starting to see Africans are dominating the market now in regards to the innovation of it. We're in the United States, we're nowhere close to this. We're not even close to having something like this.
we don't have the infrastructure, the traffic patterns, it seems like, to have it in mass. Like, I know DC, I would not trust riding one of these in the middle of DC traffic, just because people are so are just not really used to having to share the road with bikes like that.
Yeah, but that's the thing. We have bike lanes, right?
They
don't even have that over there.
Yeah, I was gonna say it depends. Some places don't even have bike lanes.
Well, you got to share the road at some point, right? I mean, it's just the reality that you live with. I mean, people on motorcycles ride around every day, and it's not going to stop us from riding. So, this is the GD on screen. This is another one that was adjacent, and another female CEO is the founder of this bike here as well. Let me play the clip here. She's the CEO right there.
They're the two.
Complex, any thoughts?
Dude, they're doing the damn thing over there. Like I said, here in the States, it's a completely different um, outlook. You know what I'm saying? Right. What we have here is, and I don't know, I think you may have an article we may be covering, or we can just kind of even brush on it right now. But you have legislation now, New Jersey, California, where now they're going to start instituting like licensing and insurance on e-scooters and e-bikes. Right. So when you look at the outlook here, it's more industry driven, lobby driven, because this is largely the insurance industry looking to, recoup monies lost from people buying e-bikes and e-scooters in lieu of buying a vehicle that they have to pay insurance on. Right. So, here in the States, what we're looking at here is one thing that we've covered ad nauseum: infrastructure, bike lanes, roads, all that kind of stuff. And then two, the lobby and the politics. Over there, that's not really part of the equation. And so that's why the outlook over there has a higher ceiling than it does here. That's not to say that there's not growth and all of that in the U.S. market, or just in the North American market. That's not to say that. It's just that it's not as vertical, more linear. So, but there's still plenty of growth there. So that's just the outlook on the two markets here versus there. Like we're looking at this as two separate types of situations here in terms of what we got going on here and what we got going on over there in Africa.
Yeah, definitely. Like she said in the video, they provide the insurance. So all you're doing is getting on and riding. That's it.
Yeah. Yep.
And so the market is different over there. They don't really look at the market in that capacity. And so they're all about delivering the whole package to you, so that you don't have to go, so that you have minimal interaction in terms of bureaucratic red tape. And so I think that, this is probably where Africa wants to be. They want to be a solutions provider, right? They want to provide the whole entire package. Whereas in the United States, you got to deal with, the sort of piecemeal. You got to deal with Progressive or Geico, or nope, they want to just send the whole package to you, get on and ride and go make your money.
Right.
Because time is of the essence, like I said, I saw many of them just flying around, not just the cargo bike you see there, but many of the e-motorcycles. I almost got hit a couple of times, coming around the corner, not paying attention. This guy almost clotheslined me right off the sidewalk. And so, very interesting. Definitely a cultural experience you have to see for yourself. You have to be there in order to understand it. There's a lot of good hospitality in Nairobi. People are not disrespectful. And what I have found is that that's what a Black community should look like. That's what it should look like. You don't hear gunshots going off. You don't hear people arguing. You Bravo Alpha November and on their phone cussing people out. People don't act like that over there. It's a different environment. And I was everywhere, all over the city. Unbelievable experience. And so I can see myself living there, but that's what a Black community should look like. Very innovative. People are actually Afrofuturist. They're thinking about what it means, to be African in from a futurist standpoint. And they're not allowing the lack of funding to stop them from innovating. They're going to keep pushing as far as they can go, as long as their money, as long as the their ambitions are there. They're going to push as far as they can. So I'm going to play this last clip. Just give me a few seconds. And let me know you can see my screen. Renaissance man drop?
No, I think he's still there.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Did Mike drop? Or what happened? Oh wait,
No, I
there
just
it goes. Okay,
yeah, I
there it
just
goes.
muted. Let me give it a few seconds so that the screen could populate. People in the chat can see. All right, let me play this clip here.
The e-bike in the middle.
Okay.
So this is expected to start going on sale in early to mid-March.
Okay.
So we already have the shipment in the assembly already started.
This is a storage bin.
Actually, no. This is where the battery goes. So we have two batteries in the stop loading. So once you open the hatchet, I'm sorry, we had to get the keys, but maybe you can pass by later and have the keys. I can show you. So you open.
Okay.
The flip goes up. So you plug in two batteries.
What's the wattage of the motor?
So the motor is 3 kilowatts, but the peak is actually 4.2.
Okay.
With a range of about 85 kilometers max.
Okay.
But depending on the mode you're using, you can get somewhere between 70 to 85. And also the load. The load capacity is up to 250 kgs.
Wow.
That is sexy.
Sorry?
Can you turn this on?
And the guy who has the keys is yet
Okay.
to arrive, but maybe within the next 30 or so, he should be here. You can be able to see how they run.
Okay. This carbon fiber or no?
No, I wish. It's actually aluminium, but it serves the purpose. It's quite light, especially for an e-bike. So because it's sort of a hybrid, so you can use it with or without the battery. In case you want to use it without the battery, once you remove the battery, it's actually quite light. A light bike, you can do some exercise with it.
Okay. This one's more of a sport bike.
A bit. It's we wanted to go for a bit of an interesting design that will work for both either a boda rider or a commuter who just wants a nice looking e-bike to go to work and come back home.
And the battery is not
Same
removable.
concept, yeah, same concept. So all our bikes actually use the same battery.
Okay.
So they all share the same ecosystem. So once this guy drops the depleted battery on one of the stations, once it's full, this guy can also pick the same battery and swap with his depleted battery.
Okay. The motor is different though.
Yes, yes. Most, other than the battery, these are now completely different bikes, but they share the same battery. A bit of the same electronics here and there, but the key things, the motor, the controller, are different on both bikes.
Okay. That one looks heavier.
It's slightly heavier. So the concept behind this bike is we did most of the design around the radar, so they look for something quite
Sturdy.
Yeah, exactly. The space for the seat and for the luggage is also a really big requirement because by law they're supposed to take one passenger, but sometimes they want to take two.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Hence the difference in the design and the looks.
What about anti-theft?
Good question. So what we've done, we've really integrated IoT with our devices.
Oh, really?
So that's for both the battery and the bike itself inside the ECU. So we can track both bikes. So first thing you need to know is that because our ecosystem is it's self-service for the swapping. We use a mobile app. So on the app you can actually see the battery, the serial number of the battery assigned to you. If you take the battery and plug it into your bike, it will not work.
Wow.
So there needs to be a three-way handshake. So that's between the bike, our ecosystem, so the bike, the battery, your app, and now our ecosystem. So that handshake has to tick all the boxes. So in case the system finds I have your battery, it will not work. So that's one. The other thing, in case your bike is stolen and you report to us, of course you need to provide police abstract to prove that the bike is stolen. We can actually locate where it is and we can disable it.
What happens if you lose your phone and you cannot sync?
No. You actually don't.
You only do it once?
So you just need to tell us what your bike is. On the system, as long as you know your number, because the battery you lease is actually attached to your phone number.
Right.
So of course you remember your phone number. So just tell us your phone number and your name.
Okay.
We can verify it's your property and be able to track, disable and liaise with the police, locate where it is and recover.
Is there a reward if somebody brings it back because they find it on the side of the road because they couldn't use it?
That should be an agreement between the owner of the bike and but we should be able to help without much of a hassle. And this also works very well for guys who are in the financing business.
Right.
So in case sometimes there are cases of
asset loss,
defaulting, asset loss, they need to recover. So we come in really handy to assist them to recover their finances, their assets. So the beauty with that is that now, since they have proven to be far more secure than ice bikes, battery bikes, the deposits and the financing rates for these are actually now low because the risk is slightly low.
Awesome. That's awesome. Thank you for that demonstration. I really appreciate it.
Complex, any thoughts?
Yeah, man. I see they're coming with the sexiness.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look at the logo design on the company. Just the aesthetic. I just like how they're really thinking advanced with it. That's how we should be thinking about this stuff. It's not like a rudimentary type of vehicle. Yes, it's very basic in terms of its operation, right? Battery motor controller. Okay, yeah, it's not much to it. However, you can use the mind to be very creative with the functionality, the design. A lot of things can be either very modular or very easy to modify. You know what I'm saying? Very easy to kind of change the purpose or something, or make it dual or multi-purpose. And I'm seeing them do it, dude, and it's coming on very quick.
No, I think that the part that really got me was the IoT functionality. You can't, no one can say that Africans are somehow, they're incompetent, they don't know what they're doing, they need to be lectured to. not based on these video clips. These people know exactly what they're doing. They know exactly what they're talking about. Okay. There's this idea that Africans are backwards, they don't know how to read, they don't have the innovative talent to do things, or the talent to innovate for that matter. That's not true. Okay, that's not true. What you're seeing right here are regular, common, everyday folks who had ideas, and were able to put them together. So let me play this last clip.
Yep.
This was a few seconds.
Okay.
Does the helmet come with it? The helmet come with it?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Jacket.
Oh, jacket.
A reflector.
Okay.
And that's the last one. That's the there's a couple of other founders on the other side, but we've already gone over them initially, which is Ampersand and Rome. So we've covered a lot just in one day. That one day was like 9 to 10 hours of just of a tour. And so and then the next day was this event here. So I got up bright and early to get there so I can be the first ones to get to these bikes. I wanted to see what they do. And so very impressed. I don't know about you, Complex, but definitely worth the trip.
No, man, and I'm glad you got the footage, right? I think what that does, and it's not as if we don't have any footage from you and your travels over in Africa before, but specifically with regards to micromobility and what have you. Oh man, I think what this does is sort of verifies our use case, right? On our end in terms of talking points. Okay, so now we traveled there on the ground. You see it for yourselves. We're not tripping. We're not tripping. Right. So I think that was a very valuable trip that you took, and kudos to you, Mike. Salute for you doing that, man. Real shit.
Definitely. Here are my last thoughts on this. I think we are doing a disservice by not taking advantage of the opportunities that's out here right now in these emerging industries. I think that we should be collaborating with the Africans on the ground. I think we should be doing more research and development here. We have first world access. There's no excuse for us not to be reading and understanding regulatory issues, legal issues, safety, public safety infrastructure, ride sharing opportunities, importation, exportation, the whole nine. And I think we should be doing a lot more. More folks should be going to the continent more often for these sort of events. And I had a great time going over there and chilling with a lot of folks and talking with a lot of founders. All right, thank you all for joining us. Please hit the like button on the way out, share the video if possible, and hit that notification bell so you get all the updates from the Black Brain Trust. It's like watching paint dry.